for the lack of a better description. You shock them with a high price. They're kind of taken aback, but now their perspective, that ultimate price they'll agree to is relative to that high price. And the relativity factor means that if they end up at 75 to 100, as many cases they do with the strategy, that feels like a better, way better deal than what they could have had at 200. So there's this relativity where if you had started at 75 to 100, they may have said, I don't know, I can't really afford, I'm not sure. And then you may have had to back it off to 50 to 75. And so I believe over the course of dozens of these presentations, with this strategy, by starting high, knowing that they're going to say no most of the time, but ending up somewhere lower, but being higher than we would have been if we didn't use the strategy, you will have a higher case size on average. How do I know this? Because I see the numbers of the agents I talk to. A lot of my agents have averages in the $800 to $1,000 AP range, which is incredible in this business. I did not do this strategy as a full-time agent. My average was $45 to $50 a premium. Okay, just to show you the contrast. So that means my guys doing this are making $35 to $45 more in monthly premium, which is about $500, $400 to $500 extra commission per sale than I ever did. That's powerful. And what's great about all this, guys, is that this isn't a high pressure tactic where the client is not allowed to say no. This is one of the few instances in our presentation where we grant the opportunity for the client to decline, because we don't want to talk them into or use pressure in selecting a budget. We want them to be as sober and as logical as possible, okay? Because our clientele are lower income folks. They've made a lifetime of bad decisions financially. Let's just face it. That's not going to change because you showed up, you know? So we take reality as it stands, and we get to kind of walk the middle here. We get to go for the gold, the big premiums, but likewise, we have the opportunity to always adjust it to their budget, even if they can't get what we'd like them to. So it maximizes our commission without the pressure. That's the beauty of it, okay? So if they are hooked, if they are interested, and they like what they've heard so far, you've had a great pre-qualifying session, they will not hang the phone up on you. They will not throw you out the door. This is the one roadblock I've tried to work diligently against, because this is psychologically the thing that obscures people from doing this, is having the guts to ask for this kind of money. Fundamentally, the strategy here is to anchor a perspective that may be out of their price zone to make what they ultimately arrive at a much more valuable deal, relatively speaking, because everything's relative, okay? You look at this and then you look at that, and it's the difference between those two that give the people their perspective on, is it a good deal or not? Well, if you're new here and you're like bristling at the idea of asking for this much money, don't. Just do what I tell you to. Everybody who does this makes so much more money without pressuring the client to buy out of their comfort zone. That I think it's just always good to remind ourselves, you are not your prospect, okay? I knew a guy, well, let me put it this way. Would you let a stranger in your home? Some of you probably would say, hell no. But you shouldn't let that perspective influence your ability to call on people over the phone or in person. Would I buy whole life insurance? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you think this is a bad deal if you were in the shoes of the prospect at your current age, but your prospect's in a different mode of life, different life circumstances, maybe different health circumstances. You can't be too fundamental about product here, like the termites or the Dave Ramsey fans, okay? You can hold those views and opinions, but on the battlefield called selling insurance, you've got to subdue those and help your client based off of where they're at. And you got to do things that maybe you wouldn't do personally and be able to kind of think one way or act one way, but then when it comes to helping your clients, think another way. And that's totally not like hypocritical. It's okay to be that way. But I think if you come into this thinking your way is the only way of thinking, like I'm not going to do this, I wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't buy this, that's a little arrogant, okay? And it's going to prevent you, more importantly, from helping more people and helping you and your family. So remember, you're not your prospect, you know, separate what you think or what you would do versus how you would actually run this business. Very important thing to remember. Okay. And ask yourself, does what you think influence you? Like, I'll tell you, I used to roll by middle-class America, and I would drive by the homes. I wouldn't door knock them because in my mind, I'm like, these people waste my time. They don't need this. Well, how would I know that? That's ignorant. That's stupid. What if a little old grandma's living in the basement? Had that happen a bunch of times. You know, what if it's somebody who's down on their luck? What if it's somebody who actually has money and they want to buy a lot? Had that happen too. So you got to shut your brain up and just do the work.